People, welcome back to Politricks Watch. This is Sir P. Now today, I'm carrying on the Kerosene oil series. But today I'm going to talk about a role that the kerosene play that doesn't get talked about enough. And that role is the nurturing, right, of the next generation of 87s, right? And I was looking for a Jamaican example I could use at this age range, but then everybody I could think of, that I couldn't get a picture of them. And to be honest, without a picture, it's not the same story. So I had to go to another acidic community abroad, right? But the same concept apply. I want you to look at your screen right now. You see the young man you're looking at? Without even looking into the comment section, without trying to go through with what everybody else has said, I want you to just write the age of the young man you're looking at. Just have a guess how old you think that young man is. Remember my video about what crime and violence does to young men, or you turn them into a dopey, like pricky boy? Alright, have a guess at this little youth age. Now, the name of the young man on your screen is Yummy Sandifer. That name might ring a bell to certain people, right? His real name was Robert Yummy Sandifer because he loved cookies so much because he's a child, right? That's them call him Yummy. Now, I want you to look at your screen as I'm talking because I put a lot of notes on the screen and I want you to see some of these things for yourself. I want you to read along because, trust me, this story is a perfect example of the whole kerosene oil concept and how they help nurture, how they help to grow and turn a lot of youths into the 87s, the next generation of 87s, put them on the conveyor belt and help continue the cycle of death and destruction. Now, Robert Yummy Sandifer's father was at 87, right? Youth are bad from him either him knee. Apparently, his mother was attracted to that, right? Because she went and she had a number of children with this young man. Now, of course, one of the things about 87s is that they're constantly in and out of jail, right? So Yummy's father was constantly in and out of jail. He was a proper jailbird. So his mother, I guess, for whatever reason, she ended up giving the youth her name because her name is Lorena Sandifer and Yummy's father's name is Robert Atkins. Now when they say a youth get his mother name, right, and not his father name, you know how that go. The problem is she had multiple children with this man who was a full-fledged 87, right? He used to sell in Diet Coke and all that, and she used to help him sell it. And it got to a point where she started to consume the same product what he did sell. Now, Yummy Sandifer, as you can see on your screen, before the age of 2, he was already known to the Department of Children and Family Services. His body was often riddled in cigarette burns as well as bruises. Cigarette burns. 2-year-old. Remember, Yummy's father in and out of jail, and mother raised him at this point, right? So, he cigarette burns upon a little 2-year-old, you can know that guy already, right? 22 months in the hospital, in and out, scratches and bruises. His sister went to the emergency room with burns on her private parts. The mother, Lorena, the kerosene, she claimed that the daughter dropped on a radiator. Think about that. The little girl come in with burn on her private parts and mother saw a radiator. Of course, the nurses could tell us ridiculous. The doctors could tell us ridiculous, right? And this lady, not only was she addicted to the bad man them, because the whole lot of them, she had them in 87s, but she was also inflicting all kind of damage on the painting them. I'm giving you the foundation because I'm not going to hear how this little youth turn out, especially when in a year in age, when he actually passed away. Now, again, people look at your screen. When they were performing psychiatric evaluations on the little boy, they read him a sentence, right? And they asked him to complete it. They started off the sentence, "I am very," he replied, "sick." He says the examiner described young Yummy as a child full of self-hate and loneliness. Let me tell you about the kerosene. You see, the kerosene is highly destructive, not just because she locked the gun in MP87, not because she will help set up a ACP Kamiga, not because she will have a problem with a man, and because she want the man dead, the man don't want nothing. But she will go to her 87 boyfriend and tell him, say, no, say, Sir P diss me. And the 87 boyfriend, suffering from the girl coronavirus, don't ask no question, rise him gun and go shoot a man. It happens all the time. It happens all the time, but people know that part of the kerosene. People know the kerosene dangerous like that. People know that the kerosene normally make one man end up down a Dovecot, one end up down a Horizon, and she still a road, right? A driving the front seat of one next man car. People know that. But people don't understand that the kerosene is really an agent of death and destruction. Because the kerosene, part of her role is to make sure that the next generation of youth end up become 87s. You see, if the kerosene have two youth, one is a bad boy, and the next one is a quote-unquote nerd. You know, in Jamaica, people, if you're too education focused and you wear your pants on your waist and you look a certain way and talk, then you're a nerd. She will praise the bad boy, son where she have. She will put him on a pedestal and she will downplay the next one. And she will mentally torture the next one until he even end up at 87 himself. Because he will realize from a little boy that his mother prefers the bad boy's son. And he will realize from a little boy that at the bad boy's son, she glorify and she push to the top. You know why? Because the bad boy's son remind her of the man we breed her. Come on, people. Come on. How the mint tea and the Cersei bush and that. Right? A special shout out to those who are drinking from Politricks watch milk. Right? You see, the kerosene is constantly trying to reproduce the 87 where she did fall in love for. Because kerosene oils are not attracted to a decent man. Listen, if you want to turn off a kerosene oil, have your life in order. If you want a kerosene oil, in that them say woman turn down and down there get wet. Well, if you want a kerosene oil to get dry, down there, just have your life in order. Just have too much sense. Be too intelligent. Be too responsible. That has no effect on a kerosene. Sorry, you're wasting your time. Move along. Move along. So when she get a son and she realized the son remind her, I'm bad boy daddy. When she realized that the son remind her of J-Bad. When she realized that the son remind her of Navada Ajis. When she realized that the son remind her of bigger crime. She loves that son. She loves that son. And not only that, from an early age she started to encourage her son for himself start to reproduce more 87s. From the youth start grow two little strand of hair down there and under him arm, she started to encourage him to start breed. This is how the kerosene is an agent. The kerosene know what happen when youths who don't have money have a bag of pitney in a community that is already troubled and suffering from all kind of things. She know what happened because it happened to her. So you would think the kerosene would do everything to prevent. No, she pushes more into it. And if one of her son them go like him want to be too rational and say, listen, well, I see what I'm to daddy and I see what I'm to you because I want to have this whole lifestyle and I'm going to do the opposite. She will talk down to that son. Tell him say him lame, right? Tell him say him not a real youth, whatever. Embarrass him in public. Enough people that listen to this right now can relate. Their mother wasn't proud of them because they wasn't a bad man. I'm talking about acidic. We're not going to hear how Yummy Sandifer end up. Remember, 2-year-old, cigarette burns, right? Remember, daughter come in, burn pan her front. Alright, let's move on to the next screen. People, please read along. During his short life, he was charged with 23 felonies and 5 misdemeanors. 23 felonies and 5 misdemeanors. This is what somebody who know him said. And I quote, he was the kind of kid who didn't have love at home. If he did, he wouldn't have joined a gang. That's one of the people who know him said that. Remember how I just said, the kerosene, if she see one of her son them remind her of the bad man who breed her, she love me even more. Well, guess what? A kerosene can have the opposite stance, where if the son remind her of the father, even if the boy not come out to be like the father, she will do everything to mentally pressure that youth until he becomes the man she claims she hate. I want life on with me. She will see a little boy who is an ordinary little boy. She despises the father, right? Because for whatever reason the father did it, right? The father might finally end up go breed one next one or go on and jail, whatever. She has resentment towards the father. Then this little boy born, and him had the dead stamp of the father. Remember, so she hate 87s. She hate the acidic life. That's what she will tell you. But she start to do all kind of things to the youth. Mentally put the youth in a space where the odds are he's going to become the very person where she claims she hate. This is how enough people, enough 87s, put them youth under all kind of pressure for no other reason than because them remind them of them father. Right? They remind them of the man where them now resent. So it can go either way. She can either do everything to turn you into the man where she did initially love off, which is the father. Or she can actually say, come, and just because the resentment she have for the father, right? She do everything mentally. See, she if you ask her, she not tell us that she a do, you know. Hell, sometimes I wonder if they even realize that them a do. But when time them put them through them things, cigarette burns and let them put them through all kind of misery and stress from 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. We know how a youth like that is likely to end up. Especially when he lives in an acidic community, especially when his neighbors are the Black Disciples gang. So now if I understand that, and before me go any further, let me put this out there. Because as usual, I make these videos and some people don't get it. Right? And right now, my stance is if you don't get it, just forget it. But more I make it clear. Not because a woman has an 87 son means that she's a kerosene. Let me put that out there again before we go any further in this video. Having a son who's an 87 does not make a woman automatically a kerosene. Listen to the video 3-4 times if you have to until you get it. There are certain criteria that have to be met. Now, let's move on to the next screen because now we're going to find out how Yummy Sandifer end up. The youth joined the Black Disciples gang at the age of 9. 9 years old. Not 90, not 19. People could have wondered what Serpy really I say. Yes, 9 years old. Them 23 are over felonies that we get and 5 misdemeanors. The youth not even the start go here and them arm yet. 9 years old. Him tell him friend him say him want to get from his mother's house because he actually left his mother's house and went to live with his grandmother. They had to physically take the pity them away from the mother because by that point, right, she get completely strung out now, on diet coke and all kind of things, right. Then take the pity them from the mother, send him to the grandmother. Yummy Sandifer, at this point, was deeply embedded within the gang. Granny said she do everything to try to save him, but she couldn't. On 28th of August 1994, when Yummy was just 11 years old. The picture he saw at the start, that is the picture of an 11-year-old boy. 11-year-old boy. He was ordered to take out a hit. So the man them sent him to carry out a hit, right? And him turn up and him accidentally shoot and kill a 14-year-old girl named Siobhan Dean. See, he was actually aiming at his rivals, at his ops. We're talking about a picnic. Imagine 11-year-old, the man them sent to go carry out them kind of mission now. What kind of 11-year-old can manage no kind of weapon, recoil and them thing there? Yummy, let off a burst, couldn't control the weapon, end up killing the innocent little girl. So now, back against the wall, him run go to a neighbor. And him tell the neighbor what him do. And him tell the neighbor to pray for him because he's scared. He's scared. Remember, we're not talking about a 21 or 22-year-old who would be panicking in that situation. Imagine an 11-year-old in that situation. Let's move on. Look at your screen again, people. See, I had to underline it in red. The same gang was saying, Yummy, if you carry out the ops, the failed ops, when you end up shoot somebody innocently. The same gang then decided to send 2 youths to deal with him. Those 2 youths were brothers, Derek Hardaway and Craig Hardaway. They were 14 and 16 years old. Do you get what I talk about acidic? When you hear the age then? So an 11-year-old, you're a 14-year-old, and forget rid of the 11-year-old, the gang sent a 14 and a 16-year-old. Acidic? You see where I'm coming from? So, you them drive around in a car, you see that on your screen? They were members of the Black Disciples gang as they drove around in a car and looked for Yummy to shoot him. Right now, about a 14 and a 16-year-old. Right? Him tell the neighbor say to pray for him, because he's going to hand himself to the police. Now the reason why them sent the two of them female because they were afraid that Yummy was going to give the information and tell them say, tell the police who sent him on the ops. Come on. If big man a crack under police interrogation, if big man your body's done, your biggest 87, right? And your favorite gangster from over there and your favorite gangster over there, so your favorite artist, your favorite politician, your favorite 116, if them really stung an interrogation room and police start pressure them, most of them are crack. Most of them have cracked. Imagine an 11-year-old, he wouldn't last long. And them know that. So them send them to youth here to go deal with Yummy. Right? Then pick him up and tell him say them a carry him go hide him because police are look for him. Yummy, being a little boy, couldn't even read the play. Him couldn't even read the play. The 14-year-old and the 16-year-old. Right? Carry him go one nearby underpass. Then put Yummy on him knees and give him 2 in his head. He was an 11-year-old. Let me show you about the picture. How many 11-year-olds you know look like that? Hell, how many 70-year-olds you know look like that? This is a very, very close-up picture them take of him. Right? This was in his final days. You can find other picture of him. There's another famous picture of him in a white t-shirt. He was younger than this picture. Right? Same braids. We are talking about a little boy. In the video, we talk about Precky Boy and Duppy. What it does to men. Look at what it did to a little boy. You see, the Kerosene, as you'd have heard in the Kerosene video, the difference between the Kerosene and the 87 is that society has no mercy on the 87. We say, well, the 87 get everything him deserve. If them shot out all him tribes, so be it. Well, the difference with the Kerosene is that society always want to up the Kerosene. The Kerosene, even when she carried the ACP, go make the man them rob and kill him. Even when the Kerosene make communities rise against communities and how much man dead because of one lie which she tell. Even when the Kerosene make somebody don't want to do nothing, but because I only could dispute and she knows I'm a bad man and I'm a suffer from the girl coronavirus and I go follow everything she tell him. And make a man go shoot innocent people. No matter what, when it's time for the Kerosene get any kind of real punishment, society's heart start to melt. Society starts to justify the Kerosene action. Well, maybe she was in a bad position. Maybe she was hurt. Maybe she wasn't, and then find every reason to give the Kerosene a bly. You see, in Yummy Sandifer's case, people just, in America, when people tell this story, them focus on 2 things. The father a waste man, and the father never, the father in jail. The father was at 87 before Yummy even born. This is why in my video, 10 questions fatherless Jamaicans should ask their mothers. If you haven't seen that video, go and watch it. Although I know only the hardcore PIA watch them kind of video there. People just want entertainment and watch them video there. In that video, I mentioned one of the questions then. At what point did you realize the man a waste man? This man has been in and out of jail from him eye to him knee. And you still choose to have 2-3 pitney with him. And then when the pitney them born, and then him drop back at jail, you say him a waste man, him a cruff. See, the Kerosene is never held responsible. You didn't know say him a waste man long before you breed for him. But when you had butterflies in your belly, for him, and when him did in your belly, you never have a problem with it. But when things go sour, you either finally left your arm guard jail or whatever, then suddenly, man a waste man, man a cruff. And society jump on the man and say, the man, listen, we know the man, there's nothing the man has ever done to show us that he isn't an ideal candidate for go reproduce with. If you look at the life of 87, you can clearly tell. If somebody was to approach it, like if a woman was to approach it from a position of reason and logic, if a woman just be honest, she will tell you, say, listen, to be honest, at no point this man ever show me say he would even ever become somebody who will even be alive for the next 3 years. Honest Kerosene will tell you that. A man will be the most wanted man in the country. Police are look for him, JDF are look for him. And a Kerosene will still breed for him. Even though in the back of her mind she knows this brother simply cannot be around much longer. She will see Prekeb boy up on the screen of every wanted poster and know say listening time near. And go breed for him. And when him dead, and the youth born, she will tell the youth say, well, your father was a little dirty jankro, father was a thief, father was a crook, your father was a... And then here comes the cycle, and here comes the youth getting put on the conveyor belt. Because from the youth of one, when she look upon him face and she Prekeb boy, when she look upon him face, and she see her father edges, everything him do, you're ugly like your father. You don't like your father. You're not gonna be called nothing like your father. And she start out cigarette on him. And she start burning with this, and she start putting him under the pressure, and she start put all kind of mental and physical abuse on the youth. By the time him reach 9 years old, mentally he's done for. He's finished. Now, him in a clans. Now him in a clans I try top. Now him in a clans I compete for who can make the most dopey. Now him in a clans eager to prove to Tesha Miller say he's a valuable asset. Eager to be wanted. Nothing make him happy when somebody tell him say, yo, John, oh, you're the real boss, you know. You're a top man in the youth. Nothing make him happy. If he have to kill Chibu for hear that, then hey, it's worth it. He's never heard it from his Kerosene mother. I understand. You know people out there, even though when I hear this video, apart from the still I say, but what happened to the father? We call out fathers all the time. We call out men who don't play their roles all the time. But we can sit and talk about 87s and 90 octane and 116 men all you want. But if the Kerosene not get addressed, if the Kerosene culture don't fade away and die out, not much gonna change because it's the Kerosene I raise them youths. The 87 are gonna end up down a Dovecat or a Rising sooner or later. These youths are being raised by Kerosenes. These youths are being placed on the conveyor belt by Kerosenes. How many times you ever say I look at youth on the road and when they ask him, so you look on the road, him say, I try to make a money to feed my father. Show me the video there. Send the video to me with a look at on the road and say, I try to make some money to feed my father unless his father no hand and no foot. Them little boy they sit on the road at us and juggle and do all kind of things. Some little 8-9 year old they sit on the car glass. You know who them out that try to support them mother. Now, I'm not saying all those mothers are Kerosenes, but we have to ask ourselves the question. How many of you mothers listening to this right now, what kind of poverty could you be under? How bad did you have to be for you to send your 8-year-old up on the road 3 o'clock in the morning to go wipe glass? Answer the question. Is there a mother out there who could see themselves lie down in a fire bed and have a 9-year-old out there on the road and wipe glass? When you ask her, I say, what do you do on the road? She said, well, she immediately resorts to victim mode, right? And some of these women, of course, we know some of them go through real separation. But the reality is, none of them have them look at youth out there, right? And make them up take up much things, make them a rob and thief, make them a do all kind of things hours and night where them not fear do. Just so the look at youth bring the money. So that's the mother. Can go buy ear and nails. And if you tackle her about it, she pull out the number 1 card. But I am poor. The excuse of all excuses. And this is just what kerosene oils do to their sons. Wait till I make the video about what kerosene oils do to their daughters. I know them turn out them daughters for them. Listen, that's going to be a complete separate video. Listen, the series goes on. People, look out for the video coming up tomorrow. It will be about a YouTube pastor at 18 years old. Start shoot people from him eye and him knee. The name of that youth is Scott. That youth, his death triggered one of the most gruesome acts in a long time. An act that shocked Jamaica. The backstory to it is fascinating because it involves a kerosene. You need to hear this story, but first I'm going to tell you about Scott and how him and Sci-Fi and them man operate in a clans, because you have to understand Scott's story before you can understand the story about the gruesome act I'm going to tell you about. That video is going to drop Sunday. It's going to be one of the longest videos I'll ever do. Patreon squad, Big up on yourself. PIA, you don't know. More life. Bless.